And now the end is near.
That's not right, Ed.
So I face the final curtain.
It is one of my favorite Sinatra songs, though at the same time.
I'll say it clear.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Empire 161 Show, Season 4, Episode 20. And yes, the end has arrived. This is our season finale. Yankees season finale was Sunday, unfortunately. It is a bit of a bummer that postseason baseball starts today, and there will be no current Yankees playing in them. There are some former Yankees playing in them, but there are no current Yankees playing in them. So we're just wrapping up the season. Not to start it off on like a bum note, but it is what it is. So. Thanks for joining us. If you're joining us on the Facebook live stream, or if you're joining us on YouTube or X, never forget X, Instagram, or wherever you found your audio-only podcast. We always appreciate the support. Yes, I am Ed, and with me, as always, is Lisa. Lisa, what's up?
You set a really bad tone for today's podcast. I'm very sad now. It's so funny. Yesterday I was driving home from work and I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I don't know what to do tonight. I don't have any baseball to watch. It hurts. It hurts.
It sucks.
It's really terrible, but we're going to try to get through this episode and give you all the energy that we usually give. But yeah, Ed and I are like in the beginning stages of mourning right now because baseball is both of our favorite sports, and the Yankees are our favorite team of any sport. So yeah, last year it wasn't this tough. But this doesn't feel good. So anyway, today we're gonna talk about the last two series, the Blue Jays and Kansas City, and then we're gonna dissect some of the things that we think the Yankees should be looking into for the offseason. And my hope, and I'm sure Ed's, is that the Yankees are very, very busy this offseason. They should be laser focused on what they have to do in order to never be in this situation again. Because I know we're spoiled, and I fully admit that. But to not have any baseball that I'm excited about right this second to watch for the playoffs, I don't know how I'm feeling right now.
It's weird. It is a weird feeling. It hasn't happened since 2016. It's been a little while. You know, I guess on days like this, I would think back to my childhood when things were not great, specifically the 1992 Yankees and 91 Yankees. So it has definitely been worse. But as an adult, you're in a different place. You're a lot more aware of these things. So it's a different feeling. It sucks because I always look at the start of the baseball postseason as opening day 2.0.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so excited. It's crazy. You got that crisp feeling in the air in New York. Like, it's
not today. Not today.
No, definitely, which I would not be complaining about if that was the case. But I also like, hey, we won a division and we don't have to play in this crazy wild card round or at one time wild card game. And you can sit back and watch the insanity where you're like, don't worry about it. We're chilling and we're ready for this. So you can kind of enjoy it stress-free. This is more than stress-free now. I still will follow the postseason because I'm a baseball fan. Is it appointment viewing? No, it's not. If this is a game 7 or game 5, it's like something like that, or game 3 in the first round, yeah, I would be more inclined to check it out and stuff, but still not going to be laser focused like pitch to pitch. You know,
Yeah, me either. I will loosely tune in.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, if there's like a World Series game 7 or some shit like that, like, yeah, I will be like, hey, this is pretty cool. I kind of just got to check this out. And I would hope for 1,000 extra innings and like real drama and like craziness, and be like, I can just watch this from afar and just not really have any stress on this. So, yeah, that's where we're at right now. So, yeah, but I was second what Lisa said. I do hope they're extremely busy this offseason. We'll get to that in a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But let's recap the week quickly. I mean, fortunately, well, actually, before we get to that recap, don't forget during this broadcast, you can send us some stars, which are a digital gift that helps us earn money for Pop Culture Pros. Let's go out and talk some Yankees baseball. And what the heck is that? So let's do that. Let's get this going. All right. So to start off our recap, let's take it back to last Tuesday. Unfortunately, it was after the Yankees were officially eliminated, which was last Sunday, and it was, ironically, my last game that I attended of the season. So not ideal. When you attend the last game of the year, it more often than not is probably not good. I will say that.
I did not get to attend my last game of the season.
Well, what was it then?
So,
what was the one you actually got to?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't remember what the last one was, but it was supposed to be on the 23rd, but we had monsoon weather, and then it was made up on the 25th, but it was still raining, and even though I had off, I didn't want to sit in that. They had the game. They won the game, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I should have gone. I should have gone to that, but yeah. So we'll see. The Yankees owe me a game.
Yeah, I also opted for the rain check as well. I did not want to sit in that. The crowd, they announced it of the Saturday crowd, which was over 40,000, but the ones who actually showed up, from what I understand, there was like less than 1,000 or 2,000.
It sounded like you could literally hear everything that happened during the game.
Yeah, it was wild. I had it on in the kitchen at work because I had to. I couldn't stay away from it, but it's like, hey, that was cool that they won. But yes, they were unfortunately eliminated. But they did go to Toronto, and we're playing spoiler. They did shut out the Blue Jays by a final of 2-0. Michael King got the no decision as he went head-to-head with Kevin Gausman one more time. Great pitcher's duel, and he went 6 innings, 1 hit, 5 walks, 5 Ks. So 5 walks, obviously not great, but pitched around it. Johnny Brito picked up his 9th win of the season in relief. Clay Holmes locked down his 23rd save of the year. And the only offense was Austin Wells in the 8th inning with his 3rd home run of the season, driving in 2.
Yep. So. And Kevin Gausman had 5 strikeouts in the game, which brought his yearly total to 237, which was the most in the AL this year.
Yeah, was he? Yeah, he did. He started the game earlier for the Blue Jays, actually. And,
Excuse me.
Last I saw, they were losing to the Twins, and you definitely don't want to lose to the Twins in the playoffs. I can assure you that. That's from experience of the Yankees playing them. You definitely don't want to do that. That would be awfully embarrassing if that happens. But oh well. And we move on to game 2, which the Yankees shut out the Blue Jays again by a final of 6-0. Garrett Cole made his final case to the AL Cy Young, which I'm sure will be the case. Picked up his 15th win of the season. Finished with a record of 15-4, and boy did he, because he pitched a complete game shutout. 2 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 5 Ks. Aaron Judge hit 2 home runs, gave him 37 home runs on the year, 4 RBIs, 3 runs scored, 2 walks. Esteban Florial was 2 for 4, and Giancarlo Stanton was 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs to add on.
Yep, and with Garrett Cole's complete game, that was his 2nd shutout of the season, and he's the 12th active player to reach 300 career starts. If he doesn't get the Cy Young Award, I don't know who would beat him.
It would be pretty tough. I don't want to hear about Sonny Gray or anyone else like that. Like it's absurd. So Let's just cut that crap out. But as the weird Yankee season would go on, the series finale, they got shut out 6-0. So apparently the rules in this series that we were not aware of was you could only win by shutout. So there you go. They fell 6-0. Luke Weaver got another start for whatever reasons there are. Got a 6th loss of the season. His record was 3-6, 4 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 6 Ks. And the only offense to even speak of was Oswaldo Cabrera going 2 for 4. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, the Yanks got nada on the board.
Yep, and in that game, Chris Bassett, who pitched for them for the Blue Jays, he reached 200 innings for the first time in his career, and he tied his career high with 12 strikeouts during that game.
Yes, Chris Bassett was on one of my fantasy teams that I was striving to take home, and then did not. Still got a prize, but
okay.
Well, it wasn't too bad because the guy the next night really kind of affected that in a very poor way. So the Yanks would go ahead. Oh yeah, the Yanks would go on to Kansas City for their final series and got spanked 12-5.
Sheesh.
By the 100-loss Kansas City Royals. Boy, Carlos Rodon though was epic in this game. I'll tell you that. He finished. He got his
epically bad.
Oh yeah, no. He finished with a record of 3-8. Did not record an out. Okay, did not record one single out. 6 hits, 8 earned runs, 2 walks, no strikeouts.
I have a problem with him, a major, major problem with him. I have a problem with the fact that he had the nerve to say, wow, when he saw Aaron Boone coming to pull him. What do you mean, wow? Like, you screwed the pooch, you dropped the ball, you were terrible, you stunk it up so badly, and you have the nerve to be surprised that he's pulling you out? Do better. How about that?
So when Blake came out to talk to him,
he turned his back on him.
What are you doing? And he addressed it and apologized in the post game.
No, this is the second time that I'm aware of. Might have been the third, where he did something kind of disrespectful on the field for everybody to see, and then he walks it back and apologizes. No, how about you just don't react like that? You act like a mature professional and an adult. Your kids are watching the game because we already saw that one of your kids thinks Austin Wells is his daddy because you have the same mustache. So how about you act appropriate for your age and be a professional and don't do anything. Go into the Yankees clubhouse and react there. Don't do things where the whole world could see you because you just look like a major a-hole.
Yeah, he's going to be one of the guys I think we discussed in the offseason because this guy, if he's going to actually just not be one of these head case dudes that came to New York and just gets eaten alive by it, like, he needs to get his attitude straight. Honestly,
absolutely.
He does. So hopefully someone takes him under, not someone. Hopefully Garrett Cole or Judge or something kind of spend some time with him this offseason and maybe try to straighten him out because it's a little nuts.
It's one thing to get riled up every now and again, right? That's going to happen. I get that. You get into the game, it's a really exciting game, whatever. But when you're blown out already, I mean, at the bottom of the first, it was 9-0. Yeah. Come on. So if you're going to react in that way, when you're the one, take accountability. It was you that messed up. It wasn't there were like 2 plays that it's like, he didn't play that very well in the field, but it was mostly him doing that because there was at least 1 home run during that. Edward Olivares hit a home run. Yeah. But I don't know. I think this is where I missed somebody like Nestor Cortez Jr., who would just laugh. He would just laugh and find it funny.
Yeah, because there's sometimes where, listen, instead of blowing up, you do kind of catch a quick laugh or something like that, and that's it. But Rodon he kind of needs to grow up a little bit. And I understand he does. And if you really read and listen to all his post-game comments, he does take accountability. I'm not going to say he doesn't. But it shouldn't be mixed in with this. It shouldn't be both. You know what I mean? It rubs people the wrong way. It's after the fact.
Well, and he's do that. And let's keep it real, Ed. He's probably taking accountability then because somebody told him you better go on camera and apologize because that's not how the Yankees do things.
Yeah, supposedly he was addressed. Yeah, supposedly
Yes.
he was addressed. Because I know Boone mentioned something on Saturday about this, that it was addressed in the clubhouse, which is fine. I'm not saying he has to do it publicly, but like we shouldn't have to keep on dealing with the same bullshit with Rodon over and over and over again.
Exactly.
All right, but Austin Wells, another home run, his 4th of the season, driving in 4. Yankees did start rallying a bit when they were down 10-0, cut it to like 10-5, little by little, but that ended really quickly. Gleyber Torres was 2 for 4, run scored. Aaron Judge 1 for 3 with 2 runs scored, and Jake Bowers was 2 for 4. I'm hoping some of these names that we were reading off on this recap are the last times that we get into these people's like stats on our show for season 5.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
It's just chopping. Let's get past these last 2, especially the last one. There's just nothing there.
Well, I do want to say one thing because I try to be fair. Bobby Witt Jr. when he hit his 2-run home run in the bottom of the 7th, that had him join the 30 home run, 30 stolen base club, and he's the 5th youngest player to do it at age 23 or younger.
Kid's a budding superstar. He seriously is. He's really freaking good. And
You know what he didn't do though with the Yankees, thank God. He didn't steal that last base.
No, thank God. All good by me, but this is the kind of jump I want to see Volpe make next season. Like to that point. Like Witt kind of had a similar season to Volpe last year. Then he made the jump, so hopefully we get into that. But again, that's later stuff. But the Yankees would go ahead and keep these winnings season streak going at 31 now, with a win last Saturday by a final of 5-2. Clark Schmidt, not a great start, got a no decision. 4 innings, 8 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, and 3 Ks. And if you told me this was going to be on the Yankees bingo card for this week, that Frankie Montas would come in out of relief and get it, make an appearance and get the win, I would have told you you're out of your fucking mind. That's what I would have told you.
I don't even think Frankie Montas would have made that bet.
No, it's complete insanity. But Clay Hall, but he did. It actually happened. It was a Frankie Montas sighting. Hopefully, it's the last one in pinstripes because no, that has not quite worked out for us. Clay Holmes picked up his 24th save of the season. Gleyber Torres was 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs, run scored and a walk, and Higgy was 2 for 5 with a run scored and a double. So.
Yes, and as you mentioned, it was their 31st straight year of winning seasons, which is the second longest streak in AL or NL history to the Yankees from 1926 to 1964. That was 39 seasons of doing so. Also, Ed, I just want to name that it's really ironic that people tune in after the last game of the season, and we could say the same thing about their team.
Oh, I can. Well, no, let's do it. Even though we normally don't, let's bring them up. Yeah, Frank Terzio, poor Yankees. So Frankie the Yankee can't seem to stay away. So good job, Frankie. Thanks for supporting the Yankees and supporting the Yankees Pop Culture Pros broadcast. We appreciate it always because we know you're a huge fan of the show, and you were really.
Although you haven't tuned in that much this year, Frank, we missed you.
I feel like he definitely watches it after the fact. Like he definitely curls up, before he goes to bed and definitely listens to the Empire 161 show. So thank you, Frankie, for continuing to support the New York Yankees. We appreciate that. But on that note, let's go ahead and get to the finale of the season where the Yanks fell by a final of 5-2 on Sunday. Michael King, not a great start. His record's now 4-8. Well, his record's like whatever. I mean, he pitched out of the bullpen most of the season. To me, he's shown a lot out of the.
You're skipping ahead. You're skipping ahead.
Yeah, we're skipping ahead exactly. So four innings, 8 hits, 4 earned runs, no walks, and a strikeout. Austin Wells 3 for 4 with a run scored and a double. IKF 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs. What am I glossing over here?
No, you're not glossing over anything in particular here, but I did think it was important for us to be consistent and do our overall King of the Hill and our overall top of the heap.
Oh no, we're definitely getting that.
Before we get into the postseason, off season rather.
Yeah. So whatever. The Yanks went ahead, finished over 500. We're good with that part. Overall, top of the heap and the King of the Hill. So, I think these are no-brainers. I think
so too. However, I have a very good argument for another overall top of the heap.
All right, so let's go. Who is your top of the heap for? I should have edited it for this 2023 season.
So the obvious person is, I'm sure, both of ours, and that is our captain, Aaron Judge. However, I was looking at the overall stats for everybody, and you know who had some really good stats?
Oh, I mean, there's only really one other person, but
Yeah, Gleyber Torres
Sure.
had really great stats. So I'm gonna shout him out, even though my pick is Aaron Judge. But I'm gonna shout out Gleyber. Gleyber's overall average for the year was 273, higher than Aaron Judge's, but Aaron Judge did miss 43 games. His OPS was 800. He had 25 home runs, 68 RBIs, 90 runs. Aaron Judge had 79. He had 163 hits, which was the most, I think, on the team. 67 walks. His on-base percentage was a 347, and his slugging was a 453. So shout out to you, Gleyber Torres. You were Mr. Consistency this year on the team, and who knew you would be the one?
I agree. I mean, yes, it's obviously Aaron Judge, and yes, Gleyber Torres for his offense will get noted there as well.
Yep.
His defense, not so much.
We're talking about top of the heap.
I understand. I'm just saying, like,
Definitely would not pick him for defense at all.
The dude's a maddening player to watch, but this is why he's a maddening player to watch. Because
just for fun, who would you pick for defensive player?
The best defensive player in the Yankees?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, probably Anthony Volpe.
Okay.
He's probably going to be a Gold Glove finalist. I'm not even kidding. Like, and I hate saying that on the same day where Aaron Boone had mentioned something about that, because we know when Aaron Boone makes predictions, you can go ahead and.
Oh my God, I have one from my guy. I have one that he made, and I was like, you just screwed it. We'll get to that in a minute.
So yeah, I can agree with you. I would note Gleyber Torres as a runner-up to Judge, but man, Judge's numbers that he put up were completely insane, especially considering he missed 43 games. Mm-hmm. I mean, the dude finished with 37 home runs and 75 RBIs. I mean, there are people who would have that an entire 162-game season.
Absolutely.
So you could only imagine what would have happened if the Dodgers had padding over concrete in right field.
Oh my gosh. Damn,
the fact Dodgers. That it still hasn't happened and is still going on is completely insane.
Look, this is like the turf conundrum that has been raised after Aaron Rodgers got hurt.
Yeah. Like at some point, this is just obvious.
Can you just like fix it, please?
Come on. I think you guys got the money. I think so. All right. So
we have another comment that dovetails perfectly with this one.
Oh, I know. That's why I was saving it for now. But
okay.
Yes, the king of the hill, a pitcher of the year, is obviously Garrett Cole. And thank you, Raul, for tuning in. Cole should be the AL Cy Young Award winner, in my opinion. Absolutely, Raul. I mean, there's no question about it. I think it would be astounding if he doesn't unanimously win this thing. So at least we got that to hang our hat on, for this season.
Yep.
But
thanks, Raul.
Thank you, Raul. Always appreciate the support. But yeah, listen, I'll go ahead and pull up the stats for Garrett Cole here to just go ahead and let's see if my phone goes ahead and does not deny me.
I have it if you need it.
All right. Well, 33 starts, 15-4, 263 ERA, 209 innings pitched, 222 strikeouts, and a whip of 0.98. I mean, that's absolute dominance. That is that's what the contract says. He's living up to it now. And this season, kudos to him also for finding a way around the sticky stuff situation, because there was questions whether he was going to be able to reach this level again, and he put it together. And the way he put it together was going away from mostly fastball slider, mixing in more of his curveball, mixing more in of the changeup, and going to be a complete, starting pitcher. So that's, changing your approach. That's what you got to do. It's a game of adjustments, they say, right? Like pitching and hitting, it's the same type of thing. So I'm assuming yours is the same.
Oh yeah, I mean, there wasn't really anybody else to consider for that one. No way.
Yeah, I mean, kudos. Listen, Clay Holmes had a solid season. I personally I just don't love him as a closer. I think he'd be a great setup man, but
I agree.
Just I don't know. If you're going to be a closer, you need to have, the stomach for that. you need to have like that kind of a nerve, like ice water in your veins. And I don't know. There's times where he comes out of comes out of the bullpen and he's wild the first couple of pitches, it's a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
And you know it. You can just see it coming. It's sort of Chapman-like, but not to that extreme. Like Chapman's like on a whole nother level of that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's who I would give the kudos to there. And actually to Clark Schmidt also. He had a pretty good season. I like to see him next season, in the rotation as well.
And Michael King, who we already said.
Yeah, he's another one. So I guess to wrap up the 2023 Yankees, they were a maddening team to watch. I'm not going to lie. Like, they truly were a maddening team to watch. I mean, the fact that they go ahead, and I'm actually going to go ahead and pull up this stat because there was a one from Katie Sharp. Right, so recently it was the 9th time this season that the Yankees have been hitless through 5 innings. That's the most in Major League Baseball. It is also tied with the 2014 Red Sox and 1974 Brewers for the most such games in a season by any team over the last 100 years. You can't get no hit. That 5-6 innings into games, 7 innings sometimes on a regular basis by anyone. Not like the elite pitchers in baseball. That can happen. But I'm talking about like Joe Schmo. It could be anyone. Literally, dudes with 6 ERAs were shutting them down at times. And I don't want to hear, listen, injuries are a part of the game. And yes, the Yankees had a lot of injuries this season. But still, if losing Aaron Judge is a big deal, right? I'm not saying it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But for that to completely derail the team to one of the worst offensive teams in baseball, that's insane. That is completely insane. And to drive home my point with this, they had the 2nd lowest batting average in all of Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
The only team that they was worse than them were the A's, and it was only by 4 points. Yankees had a 227 batting average. Okay, the A's had a 223. I mean, that's nuts. That's nuts. The Yankees had a 304 on-base percentage. You know the teams worse than them? The Royals, the A's, and the White Sox.
And we lost 2 games to the Royals.
Yes, I'm just saying, like, really look into the damn numbers.
Yeah.
And it is bonkers. They were in the lower half on slugging percentage, too. The Bronx Bombers had a 397 slugging percentage. Okay?
So did you see the comparison and how many runs they scored last year versus this year?
I did not see the comparison. I mean, I was probably going to hit that one soon, but go ahead. How many less was it?
So I'm not doing math. It was 807 last year versus 673 this year.
Pretty sizable. And their offense had issues last year too.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go and keep going with this. The 701 on base percentage. Okay. The only teams worse: Kansas City, San Francisco, Cleveland, Detroit, the White Sox, and the A's. Like, this is the crap that we're talking about. Yes, runs scored. You want to know what's funny? The teams worse than them, the Marlins, who are, by the way, in the playoffs. They are in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
The Guardians, the Tigers, the White Sox, and the A's. This is the kind of crap that, and go ahead, the Yankees like to hold their hat on home runs. 219. That was the only one they finished 9th in all of baseball. So now we talk about not relying on the home run solely. There you go. That's great. That's great. You finished in the top 10 in home runs. And look at every other category. Every single other one. It was putrid. So that's where it begins and ends, honestly, is this offense just has to get better. It absolutely has to get better. Like, this is embarrassing. And yes, you lost Judge for 43 games, but still, where was Stanton? Where was LeMahieu for most of the season, even though he picked it up towards the end? Rizzo, I'm going to give Rizzo a mulligan because that was crazy what happened with him, with the whole.
I mean, I'm blaming. So one of the things I wanted to talk about, I mentioned this to you before we started today, was like the Yankees strength and conditioning, they have to figure that out and get it together because there were way too many injuries. The fact that Anthony Rizzo was playing with a concussion for almost 2 months, and you could see that his that his level of ability was deteriorating, and they let him play for 2 months without analyzing him again after what happened to him. That one thing, major thing alone, I'm not making it sound smaller than it was. That very major incident alone and the decision to not get him properly checked out for 2 months speaks volumes about their strength and conditioning program. I'm like, as a human being, as a social worker, as like, I don't know, a caring woman, whatever, like that is disgusting. Anthony Rizzo, I hope I hope he's raised hell there with them because like that's his life, that's his brain. You don't want to mess with stuff like that. Much as I hate to talk about him in a negative way, you know, all the stuff that's been happening with Giancarlo Stanton too. So here's where I was saying one of Boone's predictions. I wish he didn't say this, but he said, and his, I mean, it's not a prediction, but he said, excuse me, Giancarlo Stanton needs to have a really strong winter. Well, guess what that means? He's not. He's not going to have a really strong winter because Boone said he's going to have a strong winter.
Would have been like we would be crazy to not think that Josh Donaldson was going to have a bounce back season.
Oh my goodness, what happened to that, Aaron Boone? Again, I want to see what's the name of that podcast?
Talking Yanks.
Talking. I want to see them interview him and remind him of that quote that he was so adamant about. But when I think of all of the people, all of the pitchers, all of the people who had multiple injuries throughout the year, because there were a couple of people who went on the IL several times. I clearly your strength and conditioning program is not top notch. And Aaron Judge made a comment about it. He was saying how I believe it was the Dodgers and the Braves, like most of their players played 140, 150 games this season. You need to, I don't know, talk to them about what they do or investigate what they do because whatever they're doing is working a lot more. And I get it. We have older players on our team, but younger players were getting hurt too. So they really need to figure that out. I don't know where they're getting their strength and conditioning teams from, but they've made adjustments to it in the past. I think they need to do that again. I think that's one of the major places because for the last few years, we've been getting to Aaron Judge's injury was a fluke. That one was a fluke.
Absolutely.
That could have happened to literally anybody that played at freaking Dodgers at that stadium that day. But everybody else, some of them could be very much avoided. And also just injuries in Major League Baseball on the whole, I feel like have increased in the last few years as well. Don't you?
Well, I do think teams are a bit more careful with their players because they see them as major money investments now. So there's a lot of things that maybe in the past players would have played through that they're not now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because the teams are also not letting them. I mean, the second anything pops up, and that's the crazy part because the Yankees are they're definitely one of the more cautious teams in all of baseball, and that's why the Anthony Rizzo thing is very strange. But I also think it lends itself to Anthony Rizzo also wanting to be kind of old school and not say anything and not play through it and think he was going to. So I do think it's actually on both sides of it. It's just crazy thinking that the Yankees would actually neglect any type of injury on any level. Like my guess would have been if once he had like a bad 4 games, they would have sent him right back for testing. Like immediately.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just knowing them. And then something would have got caught in earlier. Now, I don't know if Rizzo is maybe he was playing it off a little bit and like not wanting to admit to it. Again, he's kind of like, I don't know. He is one of those old school guys who's like,
No. I agree with you. I don't.
I'm in a funk. Don't worry about it. You know, I can figure it out.
I don't think he said anything, but like you don't go 2 months. In baseball, you play every day. Mm-hmm. You play every day. So it's not like football where like you can, you're not playing as much, you're just practicing during the week and maybe they don't see you. So they don't see that you're not fully up to your ability as a player, as an athlete. You're seeing him every day. You're seeing him go on the field and mess up plays that have like he could do them in his sleep at mm-hmm. this point in his career. And you're seeing it for 2 months, 8 weeks. you're seeing this, and you're not forcing him at any point to go and do more testing. That that boggles my mind. It boggles my mind that they could, especially because he's a player that they claim that they truly value.
No,
And
they absolutely do.
When you truly value one of your players, you don't do that to them.
Yeah. Another guy to look at is, well, I guess we can talk about more of him in a second. Is Anthony Volpe. I thought it was an up and down season for Volpe. You gotta assume there was gonna be growing pains, but I did like a lot of what I saw, especially defensively. He definitely got a lot better as the season went on, which is why I said, yeah, he would be the one guy who I would say was their best overall defensive player for the season. Judge gets discounted for that because he did see a lot of DH time when he did come back. So, but normally, yes, it would still be Judge. But Volpe did definitely make strides in that department. And also, listen, he still hit over 20 home runs and stole over 20 bases.
He did.
So it's nothing to sneeze at. But that batting average, that on-base percentage, even the stolen bases, after the start he got off to, you would assume I thought he was going to steal 30, 40 bases, easy. And he just stopped running. But he's also stopped getting on base as much, too. So they would go hand in hand.
Yeah, I kind of thought that he would potentially I thought that he was going to struggle a little bit, especially in the beginning, because here you are in a position on the Yankees that's one of the most iconic positions on the Yankees, like historically. And he's always wanted to be a Yankee. He's got the beginning of the year jitters. He started at the beginning of the season. He didn't come in later on like some of the other new players did. So I definitely saw some growth with him. I also saw, like a little bit of, ebbing and flowing with him. I do hope that next year he's a little more consistent. I think that it helped him when the other younger Yankees started coming on board because he knew them, right? He was Austin Wells' roommate, I think is what they said. He had been playing with those guys for a while. I think it took the pressure off him being the only rookie on the team. And he started doing, I think he started to get more comfortable then, even though that was later in the season. Not saying that he wasn't a little bit comfortable, and also, just keep eating your chicken parm, okay? Keep eating that chicken parm because that clearly helped.
Yeah, that chicken parm dinner definitely turned around this season as well. Yeah, and the Yankee Utes that came up. I mean, there was some positive things. I think we'll save that for the next segment going forward. Because
I'm dead. We have a lot of comments right now. Which
I know.
Which I really appreciate.
Absolutely, I'm going to start rolling off those in a second. But Raul, again, this is the first time in a long time the Yankees are going into the record books in a negative way. I'm watching baseball since 1979, and I never expected that the Yankees have to get younger if they can. Which, yeah, them calling up the Yankee Utes at the end of the season, it was a little too late. Wish they would have done that earlier in the season when most fans were screaming for that to be the case. But they kept on running out the Jake Bauers of the world, Billy McKinney's of the world, Greg Allen's, the world. And as we've said a couple of times, right? You play stupid games and you get stupid prizes. And for that, you get no October baseball because you decided to sit on your hands and you had some of the answers in-house. I do fully believe that if they called them up earlier, there's a chance they would have got on his wild card.
Absolutely. The energy that they injected into the team when they all started playing. I mean, can you imagine if Jason Dominguez hit his first home run in right after the All-Star break? Or May. I mean, that would have been even better. But the amount of energy and excitement that would have drawn to the team even more so. Come on, man. Granted, he might have gotten hurt earlier, but we don't know.
Yeah, you never know with that. But I mean, even Austin Wells helped bring some life into the team. Jason Dominguez as well. Emerson Pereira. I mean, I'm not so sold on him just yet. Peraza definitely showed me something as well. But yeah, before we segue to that, by the way, the Yankees also did make their changes to the strength and conditioning after 2019, going into 2020. And that was a weird time because obviously everyone was going through COVID and stuff, so they didn't really get to work with the players that much. But it hasn't helped. So you got to keep going back to it and trying to kick the can at that.
So let me ask you
Right.
something. Since you brought that up, do you think that COVID has something to do with just injuries in general?
No, I just think that teams are being I do think that teams are being a bit more cautious. That's all. I think if this were 10, 15 years ago, guys would probably be playing through some of this stuff, for better or for worse. But they're just like, hey, we're paying these dudes too much money now, so we're not making it. We're thinking big picture. This is our investment. So that's kind of what I think the approach is. But then you also have teams like Raul mentions here, the Dodgers and the Braves, who the Braves don't give guys automatic rest days. They're not pre-planned rest days. Their players play, and they don't get hurt. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe they should be playing more often. Maybe you shouldn't be babying them. Maybe, again, pre-planned rest days, they can't be etched in stone. Like, if a guy's on a hot streak and it's his day to rest, then you got to keep rolling him out there until he cools off. Wait for him to have an 0 for 5 or something like that, an 0 for 3, and then you give him the rest day. I know analytics don't believe in hot or cold streaks, but that's dead wrong. Anyone who's ever picked up a bat or played on any level knows that when you're on a hot streak, just things are differently. The game slows down.
Have
things
you
just feel
Have you watched Giancarlo Stanton? He gets hot and cold streaks all the time.
No, but I'm just saying, anyone like Lisa, even in playing friggin' rec softball, it's the same thing. You're like,
I know.
You're feeling it.
I know. I had a cold streak for like 9 years, and then all of a sudden this year I got a little warmer. I'm not gonna say hot. I got lukewarm this year.
Listen, but it's just what it is. Like, and the analytic, as they usually call them, the analytic nerds that are with their iPad and just crunching numbers, they've probably never picked up a bat in their entire life, so they don't know.
That
what it is.
That I can't stand. You're so right about that. It's not that I can't stand what you just said. I can't stand like thinking that they're using mathematical geniuses or whatever they are to call the game, because it's just like, well, I'm going to make an analogy that is close to my work. It's like when a funder for a program tells you how to run program, but they've never run a program before. Like, maybe you should listen to the folks in the field who are doing the work and on the ground and working with, all the things that it takes to make that successful. Maybe you should listen to them when they say, hey, that's actually really hard to achieve.
Yeah.
And also there's something to be said about trusting one's gut. I mean, Aaron Boone's been in the baseball world since before he was born. Like, his whole family is a baseball family. And you're going to rely on these analytic guys who probably don't even know how to pick up a bat and swing it in the cages? Like, come on. Use your gut, man. You're a Boone. You have like 3 generations of people who played baseball in your family.
He believes in analytics. Also, and I'm not saying that analytics are bad, which we'll get to in a second, of like what is being said here. So I think there's just a way to balance it. It's the way you're interpreting the numbers, which I think is what the question is. So let's just go ahead and actually I wanted to go with an interview here. It's going to be a few minutes, so check this out. But this is an interview with Aaron Judge, with the Yes Network that was posted here, and I think it's definitely kind of telling here. So let's add that to the screen. Boom, and check this out.
A lot of answers I could give you for that, but we can talk about injuries, we can talk about missed opportunities, but I think it comes down to us as players, not showing up when we needed to. I go back to beginning of the year, the Rays in our division ran off like 12, 13 straight. We were winning series, but we weren't finishing off teams, teams that we should be sweeping and beating. We just really couldn't get that last final game against them. So I think it's just really the urgency out of spring training to really start off hot, especially when you play in the AL East. You gotta bring it every single day, and starting on that first series.
Why do you think there was, a lack of urgency, and how do you make sure that's not an issue next year?
Yeah, it definitely won't be an issue next year. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. There's a couple things that kind of go into it, but I'm not going to.
Well, he wants to say something so badly.
Guys,
Mhm.
like I said, we just didn't come out with a sense of urgency.
When you look at some of the things that have happened throughout the course of the season, do you have conversations with Brian Cashman, with Hal Steinbrenner, with the decision makers about what you would like to see change?
Yeah, I've been talking with Hal all year. I talk with Cash throughout the season as well, and I'm looking forward to talking to both those guys and just kind of giving my opinion. It doesn't mean my opinions will change things, but I think just getting a chance to voice some of the opinions and voice of the players, what we're feeling down here, what we're seeing down here. I think it's just a good conversation to have to kind of bring us all together. Kind of get everybody on the same page, and I think if we get everybody on the same page, we're going to be good moving forward.
Do you think there has been a little bit of a disconnect between the players and maybe the front office?
At times there's probably disagreements, but I think disagreements are good. But as long as we can, once we disagree, I think it's best we kind of both look each other in the eye and kind of come to some common ground. And I think, the next couple of years as we move forward, we're gonna be right there, and this is a tough year this year, but ultimately it comes down to us on the field. It comes down to us playing the game every single night, and we just didn't show up. And I take full responsibility as that, as one of the guys down here, one of the leaders of the team, and we'll get that figured out for next year.
When you were talking to the reporters in the clubhouse, they asked you about the analytics side of thing, and you said the Yankees have all the tools. They always have all the tools. Maybe there's a difference in the way they kind of disseminate that information. How do you kind of bridge that gap between kind of filtering out some of the stuff that maybe doesn't benefit the players in your minds?
Yeah, that's a good question. You got to give me some time for that one, but like I said, the Yankees got all the resources, they got all the tools, they do a good job of that. I think it's now just about making sure we're filtering down the right information. And I think we're gonna get that all squared away. We're in a good position. I think we got a lot of good information, so we're gonna have some good conversation this offseason and get everything right.
Look at some of the young guys that came up this season. We'll start with Anthony Volpe. What did you think of his rookie campaign?
It was incredible at his age to come up in the big leagues.
All right, so I think that's the part that we were trying to lean towards there. So
yes, and we're hoping that the Yankees don't shut us down.
yes, let's hope not. That was a bit. That was a bit much there, but it was hard to like cherry pick with it. But let's get to a couple of comments before we jump into our final segment. Congratulations on a great Yankees coverage this season for you two. You think it's time to finally clean house GM and manager?
That's a great question, Calvin. But yeah, they already said Aaron Boone's coming back next year, which is Ed and I have strong feelings about that, as you've probably heard throughout the season. And I don't know what Brian Cashman has over the Yankees, but they just refuse to get rid of that man.
Listen, we're going to find out. The plot twist is going to be he's Brian Cashman Steinbrenner, and it's kind of what happened there. So we didn't realize that. But no, I think as far as Cashman goes, he's had ups and downs. There's no question about it. There's been some definitely
ups this year.
No. The last couple of seasons have been definitely rough for him.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that. No sugarcoating it whatsoever. But as much as he switched to adopt analytics, he's going to have to switch to a more balanced approach than just analytics and that. It's kind of what I felt Judge was leaning towards right there in his comments. And when Judge speaks, that's a big thing, because he's not a guy who's giving you sound bites and stuff like that quite often.
No, and I agree with Raul has a comment that I agree with, like his facial expression during that interview, and kudos to Meredith for the questions she was asking. Just want to say that.
No, but she didn't hold back at all.
His facial expressions spoke volumes. I was watching all of that. As I said, I'm a social worker, so I look for those nonverbal cues. And Raul, I feel the same way as you. He was really trying to rein in his like instant reaction emotion to some of the things Meredith was asking, and then say a more politically correct answer right there. But I'm curious, I would love to be a fly on the wall for his conversations with Hal Steinbrenner and Aaron Boone. I would love to hear that.
Well, and just to clarify, just to go back to to Kelvin's question here. So regarding Cashman, I don't think he's going anywhere. Would I be shocked if he stayed on as president of baseball operations and they brought in another GM under him? I think that's a possibility. But
I know we talked about that. We said we would love that.
That's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
As far as Boone goes,
he's here for at least another year.
He's I think they give him one more shot at this, and then you can see what happens. They like what he does, and actually not seen him there, but Judge has had his back. He's spoken up for him and supported Aaron Boone. So they're not. That's another reason why I don't think he's going to get fired. But are you going to let Aaron Boone be a little bit more free reign with his decisions? Maybe that's the thing. Maybe they feel what the Yankees want from Boone is pretty much a guy who's going to go ahead and support the players and be positive all the time and this and that. And he does sound like a jackass at times in post-game press conferences where he goes overboard with it. But
or when he goes like this on the field.
Yeah, exactly. Which is him just like really having it out with an umpire.
The most ejections this year.
He did, but it's like it kind of just gets old after a while. Like if that's all you got,
it does. Yeah, it does.
If that's all you got, then this is bullshit now. So.
You know what though? So Raul has yet another comment I want to comment on. Brian Cashman is to the Yankees what like Chuck Schumer, what's the lady from California that is retiring after this year? I can't think of her name. I see her face. The Speaker of the House. Nancy Pelosi, Lindsey Graham, and the gentleman who's been having the health issues, the one with the weird voice, I'm blanking on his name too, are to the Senate. Like, can you just, like maybe it's time for somebody else to step in. 25 years is a good run. Congratulations. Let somebody else look at it and maybe they'll see something, just a little different that you can tweak.
Yeah, I'm not debating any of that. But I'm just being in reality, Cashman's not going anywhere. I'm not saying that this is my decision, but
I agree with you. I don't think he's going anywhere. But I also think that might not be the best look. And at the very least, if he's not going anywhere, bring in more voices that can help him try something new. Then because you need that. You have to have diversity of voice and thought. Otherwise, you're going to be doing the same old thing with the same results. And that is the definition of insanity.
That at some point that became like the go-to cliche for a lot of people for insanity. I was waiting. It's not that it's wrong, but I mean cliches are usually correct. But I don't know. Just Boone's not going anywhere. Cashman ain't going anywhere. So if anyone's expecting anything like that, I don't see either one happening. It's just the Yankees needs to change their approach, and I think it's something they're going to have to adapt to, and it's something that when you hear these rumblings about Hal being furious essentially with the way the season went, and he was the one who forced Cashman to call up the Yankee Utes and all of that. That tells me, like you're not going to see him in front of a camera calling people fat toad and crazy shit like George did. But if this is his way of being fed up with things, then so be it. Now, that also ties into the reports that came out earlier today that was also commenting on the whole idea of the Yankees bringing in an outside firm to take a look at the analytics department. But today, it's being reported by, I believe it's Andy Martino of SNY, who is saying that they are going to actually review video of how other teams deploy analytics and then take their suggestions from that. They're not actually going to have an outside firm do this for them, which is why you're hearing Boone is returning, why no one, and there's no way in hell I didn't think Cashman was going anyway, even though, but like, it's not the kind of review that we all thought we were getting, put it that way.
That is a shame because we had a nice long conversation about this a few episodes ago, and both of us were really hopeful that would take place. So,
yes. Now, the only thing I can hope for is the change that happens is that Hal is like, honestly, I'm furious enough to say, screw the fourth threshold of the luxury tax, and you need to get me a damn team that's going to be a title contender immediately. Not just that. That's not the only thing that's going to fix it. You're going to need to go ahead and give some of these kids a shot. I mean, we can go all around it. You do need to get younger, like Raul had mentioned, 100%. So you can't just sign a bunch of free agents and hope that it works together. There are questions in it. We can start with the outfield. Judge is your right fielder for 8 more years, one way or the other. Maybe he ends up as a DH at the end of his career. Maybe, maybe not. Most likely, he's a big dude, or he becomes like you do see him occasionally taking grounders at first base during BP and stuff. Maybe that's where he is at the end of his contract. That's not now. So he's your right fielder. Center field is tricky because Dominguez is out until the All-Star break at least. So he also needs to do it for more than a week and a half. Like that is, to be fair, as excited as we all were.
Absolutely.
And I'm saying when he rehabs, he gets called up. His rehab goes well, he gets his shot again because
absolutely
he's young and he was very exciting and looked like he was definitely ready to handle it. Left field really needs to be addressed. I mean, we've said this every single year. Lisa,
So
every
big year, question mark.
Every year you've been on the show since you joined the podcast, we've been discussing left field. And now is the time to finally address it for real. Cody Bellinger is available. Cody Bellinger is a left-handed bat, which they desperately need.
Yep.
He is athletic. He's pretty young also. He's the guy you go after. Okay? You need left-handed power in Yankee Stadium. He's perfect, and he's not going to cost $1 bazillion. He's going to get a nice contract, probably 6-7 years, but not at a completely insane amount. It's not like he's coming off an MVP season when he was with the Dodgers. So that's the guy. That would be the prime target if I'm Cashman or whoever could be the GM. Maybe that's the guy who I go after, a prime target for left field. He can play some center as well. The guy can play all 3 outfield positions and also first base. So why the hell would you not want him?
Yeah.
Okay. Third base is interesting. Third base is interesting because Oswald Peraza, to me, that's where his future is probably going to be third base or second base. And I would roll with him. I don't really see anyone on a free agent market who jumps out at me. So that's where I choose to get younger and go there. Let the kid go. Obviously, he's got to go in spring training and do his thing. But you give him the fair shot. I don't think you need to spend money at third base at all.
I agree.
Volpe's got shortstop. There's no discussion there now. It is what it is. He's there to roll with it. So, and hopefully he takes that next step, like we mentioned with Bobby Witt Jr. So this year that he's becomes to that level. He can put those numbers up. I totally can buy into that. Second base is very interesting because you had mentioned Gleyber Torres, right? If you're not going to re-sign him after next season's the last year of his contract, if you're not going to pay this guy, then you need to trade him. It's that simple. Now, Lisa, I question to you. This is really the first place where I think there's a legitimate question because center field is tricky. By the way, I know we mentioned Cody Bellinger possibly filling in. Dominguez there. Maybe you go with Florial to fill in. That can be a stopgap guy until then, right? Even Kevin Kiermaier, who's a free agent with the Blue Jays right now, who was with the Rays for many seasons. I would sign him to a 1 or 2 year deal. That's fine. Would you trade Gleyber Torres?
That's a tough one because you and I have been really frustrated with his Robinson Cano casual laziness at second base sometimes.
Well, not putting up Robinson Cano numbers.
But not putting up Robinson Cano numbers. But being Mr. Consistent on the team, right? So do I need him to put up Robbie Cano numbers? No. Do I need him to be consistent? Yes. I don't know. I think I have to see if next season he matches or is really similar to this season before I can say that because he's made some gem, plays, but then he's also woofed it. Especially trying to turn some double plays. He's woofed a lot of double play, easy easy thing. And he's also made some base running errors earlier in the season. He made quite a few dumb, what are you doing, base running errors. So
Yep.
I don't know. I kind of want to see, like, ask me that again during the All-Star break next year.
I would trade him this offseason.
You would trade him this
I would.
offseason?
I would trade him this offseason because his stock is high again. It did take a dip for a couple of years, but now that the stock is a bit high again, I would try to trade him. I know you're only going to get X amount because he's only on a 1-year contract, but maybe whoever trades for him ends up signing him to an extension then. But I would trade him. His defensive wonders are maddening. He's, yes, for a second baseman, his offensive production is legit. I'm not saying it's not. But the defensive aspect of this it's too much. And the base running wonders. It just seems like he's not focused at all.
So who would you trade him for?
Nothing specific. I would aim for more of an area of need. You know, so like if you can get a starting pitcher, even though we'll get to the rotation in a minute, or you know, if you do choose to get a third, if you can get a guy you feel more comfortable, a bigger bat at third base, maybe you go there, and then Peraza goes to second base, because then if you trade Glaber, you're going to need to backfill second base.
All right.
So Peraza, I can see playing second, playing third. He can also is a great shortstop, but we have Volpe. So I think there's some wiggle room there. Plus, it ties into DJ LeMahieu, who has to play somewhere.
That's true.
He ain't going nowhere. You're not trading him because no one's taking that contract for a mid-30-year-old. So he's got to play somewhere. So to me, he's your utility infielder like he was originally intended to be. And you bounce him around between third, second, first base, that type of thing. Rizzo's on the last year of his contract, so I think he's your first baseman no matter what. Maybe you give him some off days with DJ, but that's kind of where I would go.
Yeah, that makes me sad though, because that means that you probably feel like, see you later, IKF.
IKF is an interesting case.
Yeah.
So, no, he's an interesting case because he showed he can be an adequate outfielder. He's not a great outfielder. It's funny. He's adequate at like every position he plays. Adequate. I wouldn't call him great. I wouldn't call him bad. He's adequate. No. You kind of need those guys on your team.
You do. And
he just should not be playing 4 times a week, though.
No, I guess not.
I
like him so much. I mean, he even pitched a couple. Like, if you look at the team's pitching stats, he doesn't have much to go on, but he's up there.
He's Lisa. He's on there too much. He's on there too much.
God. It's really bad.
If IKF is pitching, that means things went really, really bad.
Yeah, I know, but I like IKF a lot, and I know he's he's a free agent. I don't know. I feel like they've always needed like a person that could literally play any position. And, you know, there have been several people over the years that have filled that hole, and he's that person right now. And I like it that he, you know, they talked about that he worked with the younger guys. Like, he showed no ego when people came in and took the spot that he was holding down for Josh Donaldson's, all his injuries, and DJ LeMahieu and everything. Like, I don't know. He's, you know, he reminds me of oh my God, I'm getting old. I can't remember. My buddy.
He reminds me of a bit more versatile Luis Soho.
Oh, I love Luis Soho. No, I was gonna say more current. Gio Urshela. You know how I felt about Gio, and when the Yankees didn't keep him. So I'm gonna feel that way about Isaiah Kiner-Falefa too. And I absolutely adored, and he's a very nice man, Luis Soho. I got to meet him during Yankee camp, and he was so nice and funny. Luis Soho was my favorite utility player, probably of all time. Yeah.
I'm not gonna disagree with that at all.
Love that. I love him.
But IKF, I would probably bring him back on if he on the cheap. I would bring him back for a bench role.
Absolutely. Speaking of the bench, do you think they need a new bench coach?
Bench coach? I mean, it depends on the approach. If the approach is going to be analytics, your bench coach is a spreadsheet. So it doesn't really matter who the hell. I could be the bench coach. You could be the bench coach if we're just going to go
That's
off
true.
the spreadsheet.
Although, Aaron Boone gets kicked out a lot of the games, so you do need a bench coach.
The spreadsheet was still managing the team,
No, I know. What about hitting coach? What did you think of Sean Casey when they brought him on board?
Well, from what I understand, the word is out there already that he's been invited back already. So that's not changing. And
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that one.
Yeah, I think getting more time would be what they need. I mean, the guy that I would want is, it would be too awesome.
Oh, that's who everybody wants.
No, everybody wants Mattingly back in the dugout, and I wish that would be the case. But I do agree that if Boone is going to be your manager, bringing Mattingly into the dugout, either as your bench coach, your hitting coach, or something like that, it's going to loom too large because every time things go bad, it's going to be all right. So are we shit canning Boone and we're going to get Mattingly to promote or what? Like, it would just be the shadow would be too large. You only bring him back if he's going to be the manager.
Yeah, I guess so. So what do you think about continuing on with special advisors from a certain era of the Yankees that we love?
I think Pettit is
not just him. I'm wondering if they should bring back others.
It depends on who's interested. I mean, I know Jorge worked for the Marlins. I don't know how much did he really have an influence on them or not. Like,
that was nepotism because his best friend was the GM.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it just depends. And I don't want to, like, my answer for fixing the Yankees is not going to be just have former players up and down,
No, I'm not saying go crazy and just like
there's a lot of fans who are suggesting that. Yeah.
No. I like that Pettit joined and was helping out with the pitchers. And it's always nice to see, like the familiar faces every now and then. And of course they have such a, they have such a great presence of Hall of Famers and former Yankees that were great that aren't in the Hall of Fame that should be, that they can access, right? I mean, Yogi Berra was always around them when he was alive. You still have people, Louis Soho, like he's still involved with the team. He does player development, like you have all these people, you have a lot of access. Willie Randolph is always around, so like they don't have a problem doing that. Huh?
Willie's another guy who I honestly thought he was going to be the manager.
Willie.
I thought he was going to be the manager when Boone got hired. And that didn't happen.
I love Willie Randolph.
Never gotten another shot.
I love him so much. He's another one that's one of my favorites. Yeah, I don't know. They need to do some shaking it up. I really hope that like Aaron Judge and other players. I just feel like they need to just listen to them a lot more. I appreciate what he said about like being a voice for the team. That's what a captain does, of course. But like Raul and I kind of both said in his comment and me responding to him, like you see in his face, he's got a lot he wants to say. I hope he says it all. And I hope that they listen to some of it because I know they're not going to listen to all of it, obviously. Like how dare you listen to a player on a team who is the best player on your team? What would make you do that?
Potentially one of the best players. I mean, arguably the best player in all of baseball. I mean, when he's on the field, I mean, it's not debatable. But he's a guy you signed for 8 more years, and he's your captain. So that voice should be loud. And the fact that a guy who doesn't usually give you anything, gave you way more than he probably ever has in any kind of sound bites, that should speak volumes. So I agree. It should be interesting. But to take it back on the field to wrap up that part of it, as far as catcher goes, I think Austin Wells has earned a shot in spring training to be that guy. If he can be in a defense, this way, Jorge was never a Gold Glove catcher. He was good, but he was not being mistaken for Pudge Rodriguez at any point, right? No, I'm saying he's a good catcher. He's not like Gold Glove caliber, but he was good. That's the guy. If Wells can be that, and with a left-handed power bat, money. You've got it. Then you have Trevino as the other catcher, or if it's Higgy or whoever you choose, that's the guy. It can't be both though. I'm sure it's gonna. My prediction is it'll be Wells and either or Trevino or Higgy. That's going to.
So what about Ben Wortvet?
It's enough. I'm good. As much as I enjoyed the battles between Cole and Vortvet, I think that's over. I'm good. I've seen enough of Ben Vortvet. I'm good.
I mean, I want Jose Trevino back because he was one of my favorites in the last couple seasons. But I don't know, I think
it would be Trevino. My prediction is it'll be Trevino and Wells next season. I think Higgy, unfortunately, I think he's the one who ends up moving on. He's actually older than them. It doesn't look like it, but he's like 33, I think.
Higgy?
Yeah, he is older.
Older than Trevino?
Yeah.
He's not older than Trevino. Get out of here.
All right, so I'm gonna.
And I still don't believe.
I'm gonna fact check this.
Who you look at? You look up Higgy.
I got Higgy. Yeah, I got Higgy. Yep, I was right. He's 33. Higgy's 33. What do you got?
Okay, Jose Trevino is 30.
Okay,
all right. Okay, it's not crazy. And Austin Wells, I still need. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to align myself with the former president, but I'm gonna need to see a birth certificate, man, because I still don't believe you're 23 or whatever you are. Like your face screams 30s. Sorry.
The stash. It's the stash that's taking
Austin.
over the world, apparently.
Okay, yeah. Can we talk about that for a hot second? Because there's way too many baseball players with, I'm sorry, porn star stashes.
Aaron Rodgers has one too.
It's disgusting. All right, there's a lot of athletes. How about that?
Yes.
It is not a good look, gentlemen. Let me tell you this, okay? It is not a good look. I don't know who's telling you that is cute. It's not.
In November, you can do it.
I have no problem with facial hair. I know a lot of people with facial hair in my life. I have no problem with that at all. But that particular style of stash, ugh. Yeah. That was just not cute at all. That's almost as bad as the hipster one that people do.
Oh, that one's much worse.
That one's terrible too. Yeah, but this one, people got to stop with that. Come
on. And that brings us to DH.
I can't talk about this one. I'm extremely biased. I'm sorry.
No, that's the most
terrible. I strictly want our DH to stay our DH just so I can look at him. That's it. That's the only reason why.
It's a complex situation because of the money he's making for the amount of years he's got left.
Yeah.
But I would revisit that concept that we talked about a few weeks ago. If Mike Trout is out there, okay, now again, for anyone who's getting too excited, Mike Trout is not Mike Trout, who you're probably thinking MVP Mike Trout. When he's on the field, he's still outstanding, and he is significantly better than Giancarlo Stanton. But I'm saying, I'm being listen, I like Stanton also, but it's the truth. Stanton, listen, Trout can play center field. And eventually
No. How about this? Trout can run.
Trout can run at even at a normal athletic pace. He can run, and Stanton can't. If this is put this way, unless we find out Stanton's having surgery this offseason, if it comes out in the next couple of weeks, he's having offseason surgery. That explains a lot. His injury history is still what it is, and the years on his contract and the money is still what it is. But I would rather be paying more for for Trout. And if you're going to swap contracts, and the way the Angels would be incentivizing it, because I'm not going to pull a Rick and give out trade suggestions that only benefit my team. It has to benefit the other team as well. They get the money off the books earlier. That would be the advantage of trading Trout. You're trading two injury-prone players. Stanton gets to go back to California. He also, but now again, he has a no trade clause. So
he does. He has to approve.
He has to approve this. So the Yankees basically have to really lay it out for him. We don't want you anymore. They have to be brutal with it.
Giancarlo, that's just how the Yankees feel. That's not how I feel. Just FYI.
I'm just saying that's just what it has to be. And then you could be like, hey, you sell him on, hey, you're going back home, essentially. I mean, in a way. And then the Yankees would have to sweeten the pot a bit with some prospects and stuff and probably eat some of the money as well. But they can do that. That's the only scenario where I see Stanton comes off the books. Otherwise, he's back. He ain't going nowhere. I just don't see it. I don't see I don't see Hal eating the rest of that contract because that is a lot of friggin' money.
It is.
It really is. For anyone. That is a lot of money.
Yeah, it
and
is.
hey, if he decided to eat the contract, dude, kudos to you. That's a George move right there. If you decided to eat the contract, hey, if that one move alone, no one can talk shit anymore about the whole George Hal thing. If he decided to eat the Stanton contract and say, screw this, let's go. We're going to go evil empire this offseason, and we're going to just go ahead and freaking blow through every luxury tax threshold, and we're going to eat dead contracts, and that's it. Like, the only goal is the World Series next year. Then kudos to him. I'm not saying – I think that – I do have a feeling that they're going to end up spending because they also have a lot of money coming off the books. I think the Yanks will be a player in the free agent market, but also the people with the idea of Shohei Ohtani, number one, he has to agree to go east. That's number one. Outside of that, nothing's happened. And two, his contract, because of his injury, is extremely complicated right now. I'm not signing him. If he wanted to come to the Yankees, I'm not signing him to a long-term deal right now under the assumption he's going to be a pitcher and a DH, because I don't know if that's going to be true. I don't.
Yeah.
And then you think the Stanton contract's bad. Woo! That Shohei contract would be horrendous for a very long time. So you got to pump the brakes on that. If I'm Ohtani and if I'm like a team interested like the Yankees, I go short-term deal. Prove it contract. 1 or 2 years. And say screw it. Then you go get your big payday after that. Once you can prove that you can still hit and you can still go ahead and pitch at that level too. So, I mean, that's where it's at. And again, if you're not getting, and there's no ideas of Shohei if Stanton's still on the roster. Literally impossible. They both
absolutely.
DH. They both can't DH. So anyone who's got the Ohtani bug, the Stanton decision unlocks a lot of things. So in a way, that's almost where it begins and ends. Hey, crazier things have happened. Maybe, again, Stanton gets off-season surgery. We find out he was actually hurt, and he was playing through that. And then they're going to rock with him then and hope to God he somehow finds his 2018 or previously Stanton form again. Because this guy still got power, but
yeah, he does.
Hitting 190, hitting 190, and hitting 25 home runs ain't doing it for me. That's rough. To get to a few more comments, though, Stanton is the $64,000 question of can he survive being a Yankee? The DH spot needs to be flexible for the team. Yeah, it's pretty much what we just got to. And it's the truth. I personally prefer not an everyday DH. And Judge is going to need to probably fill that spot when he gets older. Towards the end of that contract, he's probably going to be an everyday DH. So that decision is going to need to be made. So I think it starts and ends with Stanton. You know, what they're going to do with him. I think that's the biggest question, for this offseason. And regarding pitching, obviously Cole, there's not that many questions with the pitching, honestly. Cole is going to be there. Rodon, one way or the other, he's going to be there. He's signed for 5 more years. You got to pray that we fix him.
Hopefully Nestor is back and better
Nestor,
than ever.
Listen, we both love Nestor. Nestor's a huge question mark. Because I don't know which Nestor, who's the real guy.
I know.
I hope he is. I hope he is back. And I hope he can figure it out. Clark Schmidt, Michael King, that's probably going to be a rotation.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at that.
What about, you think Loizaga is back?
No. He's injury prone too. He has shoulder problems. But as far as the bullpen goes, I would probably try to get a bona fide closer. I would retool the bullpen like they like to quite often.
Do you think they're going to keep Wandy Peralta? Because he's a free agent, right?
You want to know something? He's the toughest one.
Yeah, he's definitely the toughest one.
You need to have a lefty in the bullpen that's not Nick Ramirez. Oh, my God, I can't stand Nick Ramirez. Oh, Jesus. I don't even want to say his name. It infuriates me. I do. He became the guy. Once Hicks and Donaldson were out of here, Nick Ramirez became the guy. Like the guy that the second he comes out of the bullpen, I kind of just wanted to sit backwards at the stadium and just like face my seat and just not see this. Like he was just that guy. It was just disgusting. I would retool the bullpen here and there. Middleton, I thought, showed some stuff, so I wouldn't be mad if they brought him back.
Tommy Kahnle, Ian Hamilton.
I think Tommy Tight Pants is signed for another season. I thought it was a 2-year deal.
No, I'm just
So,
asking. I'm just
hey,
out there.
as long as he's mixing in the fastball and not change up, fine. I'm good with that. And then if there's a bona fide closer out on the market, I would probably go after him. So you can.
Oh my God, snatch them up, please.
Yeah, move Holmes down to a setup man and your bullpen. I know it's out of all the things with the Yankees right now, I trust them with the bullpen. I do, because they find guys off the scrap heap out of the bullpen, and they work. Wandy was one of them. Clay Holmes is another. These are just recent guys.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, the bullpen steps it up all the time, and they're always listed as one of the best bullpens in the league for at least a good chunk of the season.
No, they'll find somebody in the bullpen. I'm not worried about that. Not even big dudes you've never heard of, but I would like them to get one bona fide closer to anchor the entire bullpen. And then everyone else, do what you got to do. I do trust you guys with that. So that's fun. All right. So, I mean, do we got anything else? Is there anything else off-season wise?
That
we didn't touch on?
No, I guess I think that's it. I think we pretty much covered everything. I mean,
we went through the rotation. We went position by position. We went through the dugout. We went through the front office. I mean, hey, I hope Crackerjack guy is back. I mean, he's awesome.
I miss Crackerjack.
No, he's there. He's been on the field level.
Oh, he is good. You know who needs to stay? I'm a big fan of them.
Oh.
Friday Night DJ.
You do love the Friday Night DJ, actually.
It's so entertaining.
It is. It is a different.
I'm sure you know who I'm sure hates it. A player, not a friend.
Okay. I was thinking about someone we actually know.
Wait, now I want to know that answer too. But
no, I didn't get to it. I was just thinking.
Okay. Yeah, he probably hates that so much.
I don't know. I think he kind of loosened up a bit this year. I'm going to be honest. I kind of felt like a different vibe from Cole. Like he was more about like, fuck it. I felt like he came into his own. Besides, I think so.
Yeah, we talked about that. We talked about that throughout the year. Okay, you know what else they need to adjust since we're talking about everything now?
Mm-hmm.
I need a cup. I hate those cars, by the way. Sorry, folks. I live near the BQE, and my window's open because it's really nice out this week. I hate those cars that have that feature that makes it sound like a back shot, whatever it's called. I don't know what that's called.
It's bad. I know you're talking.
But I need some of the players to come up with better walkout music.
What?
I do.
Okay.
I need some of them to change it up next year and do something else. That's all. Or have more than one. Because some of you, I'm kind of tired of your songs. Like, I'm going to be honest. I don't know him. I did not know his music very well. So I wouldn't be called a fan. And I know that he's really popular, especially in Brooklyn. But like Aaron Judge has been playing that Pop Smoke song for a while. You could pick another song, Aaron Judge. Like you could pick that and another song, Aaron Judge. Come on. Giancarlo Stanton's song. It's really just like a harpsichord or whatever or a pipe organ. And from the beginning of the song. That's not even how the song goes. Like that's not even how it sounds. Pick another song.
I'm going to disagree with you on the Pop Smoke part because I think since he switched to Pop Smoke, he's hit 62 home runs and he's putting up the.
You know what? I said
works.
that and. I said that and. That and. Switch it up. You know who was the most entertaining? You do remember. He always kept us guessing. We were always excited to hear what his walkout song was going to be.
You talking about recent or current roster?
No.
Oh,
Come on, we talked about him all the time. We were always excited. Like you would text me opening day and be like, wait until you hear Blank's opening walkout song. Not that it was good, it was hilarious.
Come
on. Foul territory.
Oh, Tex? Yeah.
He had the
yeah, Tex had Tricky.
He had Michael Jackson. Come on.
He was all over the map. He was all over the map.
Hilarious. He was hilarious. Are you gonna miss Gwen Stefani and Eve?
No. I don't want Jake Bauers back on the team. I'm sorry. I'm done with Jake Bauers.
I don't want him on the team, and I'm still waiting for Eve to show up at Yankee Stadium. Thank you, Eve.
To watch a game?
No, to perform. I'm still upset about that.
I
But
don't know what she would be performing. What shows?
no,
she would be performing.
I know. But anyway, I do need some of the Yankees to, just add a little variety to their songs. But 100% keep that Friday DJ, man. He is so fun.
Oh man, yeah. Friday DJ is cool.
Do we want to? I mean, I know that they always bring new food into the stadium, but are there things that must stay?
Bills has to stay. That's a given. I don't have anything that really needs to go. I'm sure they'll add something new because they always bring something new.
They always do.
Kudos to the 99 burger situation because I had a decent amount of them this season, and it's always freaking good. The Bells, always money. Who else is in there?
I need
Chickies
that.
and peas, crab fries.
I could do without those. I need the Maduro burrito cart and the woman who works there to be back. She's awesome. She makes a really good freaking burrito and it's delicious. And if they get rid of that, the way they got rid of my pulled pork nachos that I'm still bitter about, but they still have the nerve to have Mighty Quins in the stadium without the nachos, I'm going to be really mad. And I'm going to write several emails about it and talk about it on the podcast. So
there will be a survey that I'm
them.
sure I'll be getting soon.
You better keep that lady and that card.
I'll mention that.
Keep that.
I'll mention that.
And I need them to never get rid of the Baby Ruth shake again because I don't know why they had it disappear for a while, but that's my favorite of those Grand Slam shakes.
Can't disagree with that. Even though my favorite is from Bob's Burger, just the dark chocolate shake.
I know. I have to get. I wouldn't get dark chocolate. I would get vanilla, but I have to try one of those.
That's all they have. They have dark chocolate and they have vanilla bean. That's it. It's very
because it's the classics. Yeah.
No, I don't know. I mean,
can I just say
generic cheesesteak can be upgraded again?
Oh
but
yeah,
I don't know where you're going.
I do miss the old cheesesteaks. Can I just say, Edward Camus, this year has been very fun. Usually at the end of our season, I'm freaking exhausted from all the work that I have to put in to prepare for all of the shows. But this season hasn't been as exhausting, which is ironic because it was a harder season to talk about.
Yep.
But I just want to say we are very thorough. And yes. I appreciate that. Folks, we literally, if you didn't notice, we literally talked about everything at Yankee Stadium today in less than an hour and a half. You're welcome. And we're going to pop up on the feed in the off season a few times just to keep you on your toes because we're still going to be doing the work every time we hear things. So stay tuned for that. And I want to shout out all of the people that come on and comment for us. Raul, you always support us. Frank is our number one fan.
Frank loves us. We love Frank too, though.
And special shout out to my good friend. Special shout out to my good friend Kelvin as well, who comes on and leaves nice comments. I appreciate. We both appreciate you all for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks to everybody for checking us out this season and past seasons. And listen, as Craig Carton would say, tell your friends. Go ahead and spread the word on Facebook. Spread the word on YouTube. Subscribe if you're checking us out on YouTube. We're not going to go away without our closing song.
Spread the word on Pop Culture Pros and tell our boss that you love our show and it's your favorite.
There we go. We kind of transitioned to the closing without, inadvertently, but there it goes. Yeah. Go ahead, subscribe, Facebook, YouTube, X. Maybe it'll be Twitter next season. Maybe we'll have a new name. Who the hell knows? Instagram. If you're on X, check us out at Empire161 Show. We'll be sharing stuff in the off season. Any kind of movement, trade stories. Check us out there. Instagram at @the_Empire_161_show. Check that one out. I manage the X account, and we both manage the Facebook account. Instagram.
Ed manages the Facebook account.
Yeah, but Lisa jumps in there too. So, Kelvin, thank you as well. Appreciate your support, everyone's support. If you're on the subscribe, I know if you're going ahead and audio only. Subscribe there too. Check out Pop Culture Pros, popculturepros.com. That's what we're brought to you by. Like Lisa mentioned, we will see everyone this offseason. We might jump on, we will jump on any free agent moves or departures or anything like that. Look out within that 48-hour range for a quick episode commenting on that move. We'll be active this offseason. And let's hope the Yankees are even more active than us this offseason.
Yes, please be more active with us.
So check that out. Let's go Yankees. Let's get back to it. Let's make sure we're playing next October. All right? Everyone enjoy the baseball playoffs. Anyone but the Astros. That's who I'm cheering for. Anyone but the Astros. So everyone have a good night. If you're into comic book stuff, check out Granny's Speed Sheet coming up in about 10 minutes or 5 minutes. Who knows? No rest for the weary. Later.